And we are live. It's your favorite insurance agents, Donald Jr.
Michelle Basel, the Wealth Tattletale.
And we are super excited to have you on because we have a very exciting show today. Today, we're going to talk about multiple streams of increase in generational wealth. So, if that's something important to you, go ahead and tune in to this show. If you're watching live, go ahead and put hashtag live. If you're watching replay, put in the chat hashtag replay, and let's go ahead and get lit. All right, without any further ado, let's bring on Lady C Prince.
Hey
Hey,
y'all.
Hey, girl.
good evening. How's it going?
Going good, going good. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to come on your show.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking time out your busy schedule. I know you're all over the map, so why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Who are you and what are you up to?
Yes, my name is Lady Shantae Prince, and I am a wife, a mother, a ministry gift, and a business brand owner of 20 consecutive years.
Excellent.
Wow.
20 years.
Impressive. Now, first of all, when you tell people that, they're going to immediately think you're making up stuff, right? When you say 20 years, because you only look like you're 20, all right?
I
Seriously.
appreciate it. I do appreciate it. Yes, it's been 20 consecutive years. This year, actually, I did start my business 22 years, but it took me 2 years to build the foundation. I wasn't doing any transactions or any business. I wanted to get my administration together. But yeah, I've been in business for 20 consecutive years.
Well, that's a long time.
Yes, ma'am.
People are struggling to get in business and stay in business past 2 years, and you've
Okay.
managed to do that for 20 years. We want to ask you quickly to tell us what was your secret, honey.
Well, I basically was in the medical field, and back then my daughter was really young. I was a single mom with my daughter, and I was working for the Seattle Seahawks physicians. And the position that I was in, it was no other ladders to particularly climb. And my daughter needed me. It was like every time I turned around, the school was calling me. I had just got saved, so I really believe that a transition or trajectory of my life was being turned around and changed. And one night, I just heard a clarion call of a voice just telling me to resign, and I did not do it for 8 weeks because I was super scared. I didn't know how I was able to hear the word resign. I didn't even know what resign meant. And finally, I started having like some attacks on my body, like in my neck and in my shoulders. And I had just one day after the 8th week, just went on and wrote a letter to the office manager. I wasn't going to be able to trump her in no way or form. She'd been there 25 years. And I just told her, I have a clarion call to resign and I'm going to resign. And so from there, I went from being employed to deployed to unemployed to self-employed.
Ooh, I love that. I love that.
Yes. So I did go through all of the emotional scares that you're talking about. I went through all of them through that journey, but it was up front. It was like 22 years ago. So I experienced that whole entire roller coaster back then, which caused me to really figure out what I was going to do and what I'm made of. And that's what kept me here for 20 years.
And so, when you decided that you would take that leap of faith, that
Yeah.
you would, answer that call,
Hmm.
how did you determine what you were going to do? What was your niche? What did you decide on? How did you make that decision that you were going to go into your field?
Well, the funny thing about it is I end up the doctors that I was working for, they end up becoming my clients because mainly a part of my job was medical billing and like the administration, the front office, the marketing stuff. So I just went and I just started the business based off of what I knew and where I was. I just
Mhm.
knew that I needed to be in a place of my own to do that. And so I end up churning my employer around to my actual clients. So I went into medical billing and marketing.
So would that mean that you almost, I mean, you quit a job and you went back and you took you some clients?
Well, not even take, it was like an open door because even though the doctors worked as a group, they
Yeah,
also had private practices. And a
absolutely.
lot of times, they needed billing, outside billing, third party
Right.
billing. So
Mhm.
that's how they came back to me because I did like all of the marketing and stuff for them or whatever. And
Yeah.
they started referring me out to their friends, and I end up doing it contractually for a L&I board. And from there, them same doctors was members of that L&I board. So
Nice.
that's how they became my clients. I started billing from them right from my garage. I turned my whole entire garage into a commercial setting. And
Wow.
Wow.
yes, and I knew it was God because at that time, I was in Seattle. So at that time was when Microsoft really has started taking off, and Bill
Mhm.
Gates and them, they started like in the same formation that I started. And we were in the same place. So I just believe I received the impartation of what was going on in the region.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Yes.
So talk to us about multiple streams of increase. What does that even mean?
Well, like I said, I started off in medical billing for doctors, and I end up having to do the marketing. I had to do the branding. I had to do the media. I had to do everything that had to do with visibility. And so when other people through the marketing or word of mouth start finding out that I was good in design, I was good in marketing, I began to pull clients from other industries such as like athletes, clergymen, recording artists, and then it just led me into one profit after another, and it's still here. So increase to me means that God said that be fruitful and multiply. And so I was able to just continue to plant seed and water seed and grow increase from every revenue of starting my own business.
That's exciting. So, what is your advice to somebody that wants to have multiple streams of increases?
I would say really, really go within. We talked about that, but really go within because I like to say, and I live by this saying, that the money is in the earth, but the wealth is inside of you. So,
Hmm.
Oh,
yeah,
I love
That's a good
that.
sound
Yeah.
bite.
we could get money. We could call up money from any angle, from any industry with whatever you do, but the wealth is inside of you. So I would say really take some time to get before your creator and find out what your purpose is in this
Mhm.
earth. And when
Mhm.
you do, he'll start having you go within to tap or access into those wealthy treasures that you didn't even know that you had.
And that's one of the reasons why we are so adamant about what it is that we're doing. Because like you said, you can get the money from anywhere, but the
Yes.
wealth comes from within. But that's where the teaching has to come in because most people don't know how to tap into that. And that's why we are trying to make them aware, trying to bring these subject matters to the forefront so that you can then begin to tap into that wealth that's on the inside that's been lying dormant. You haven't, you know, initiated it because you did not know how, right?
Mhm.
And so here we come, tattletelling and
Yes.
getting people lit, right? So that they can know how to tap into that. So that was a beautiful, beautiful point that you brought up.
Yeah, and a lot of times when God do call us, we there's work to be done, and the
Mm,
work starts with you. People
yeah.
don't want to sit down and take time to really get developed and really get cultivated, really see the things that have been causing you to not want to go within. And it's personal. So for me personally, I always wanted, I'm my biggest convictor. So I always want to better myself every time I turn around. I don't need nobody really pointing their finger in my face telling me what I got to do, because I could feel on the inside that you got to do something about this. So I turned within, and it wasn't hard for me to look myself in the face, even though at that time I was in a dark, dark, dark
Mm,
space, but I
yeah.
still wanted to be the best version of me that I could be. So I fell on my knees, and that's how I started to realize, oh, you're passionate about this. You really don't like doing this. You really don't want to do this. You will spend more time doing this, and you are good at it. So that's what caused me to really be able to just start digging into my treasures.
Wow.
You mentioned the dark place, uh, Lady C, and that's where a lot of us find ourselves. And everybody will have that journey. But when you are in that dark place, that's usually when people lose themselves because it's hard for them to find their way out.
Yeah.
And so what would be your advice about, I know you said you went on your knees and all of that kind of thing, and that is our first point of contact is God, and I get that. But how important is it for you to find that person that you can trust, that you can talk to, and everything? Let's talk about that connection with human beings to try to get out of that dark place so that you can thrive.
I would say a lot of times when you are in a dark place, you could see peaks of light, but you may not be able to reach it like arm's reach. And so you have to do the work of moving towards that light, whatever that work looked like. So for me personally, at that dark time, I had a little girl looking up to me. I had a little girl. So you know, every time I needed to see, am I going to get out of this space, I would have that little girl looking up at me. So that was my inspiration to
Yeah.
want to climb out of all of my situations, because I did have somebody looking up to me that was going to mimic me somewhere down my journey, and I didn't want it to be that. So I just start, chiseling away at
Yeah.
all of the ugly stuff. That's what causes us to get into a dark place. We either was led there by ignorance, or being easily influenced. And that's something that I know that I'm really not a follower, I'm a leader. So I was like, okay, I have to take a greater stance to begin to really come up out of this place. So whatever it took, I began to, imply it and implement those tools and those resources. And, I think with God too, I know with Him, whatever space we're in, He's never leave us or forsake us. He always supply us with resources. He always will supply us with people, but it's up to us to
Mhm.
want to connect and home in to that wisdom and come on out of whatever you're in.
So if you don't have that why,
Yeah.
you will die.
I like that.
You gotta have
I
that
like
why.
that. Excellent. So, talk to us about generational wealth. Like, what does that mean to you, and how do people initiate creating generational wealth?
Well, a lot of times we hoping and waiting till somebody die, and
Mm.
for us to get something. And I learned in the early age that my inheritor, he already died, right? So I have something that I can tap into.
Right.
Yeah, personally, I received that mantle of like, okay, your inheritor already died. Now possess the riches of his glory for yourself and live them out in the earth, right? But naturally, that little girl I was telling y'all about, she's actually a wife and a mother now,
Oh
and
wow!
actually a grandma. And
Wow!
Well,
I was already on the path of profiting and prosperity and sowing and giving and reaping. But then during COVID, my daughter and son-in-law ends up having two kids back to back.
Nice.
Yes, yes. So I'm over here now. I pivoted during COVID, but now my whole mindset, she put me in a realm that I was not supposed to be in before I was 50. Now I'm close to 50. So now when I'm doing business, I'm not just doing it for this account. When I'm doing business, I'm not just doing this business to put money over here. No, I'm actually doing it for my grandkids. I'm actually doing it now for them to be able to access it now, not when I die. No, no, no. I want them to be able to have that mantle. So it's just creating and implementing and depositing and planning all of these things that were given to me through my generation for them.
Wow. I love how you know your purpose, you know your why, you have your inspirations, and your inspirations keeps driving you. And you're not just about talking about it, but you're about action. You're about doing it. And so keep it up. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been through a lot. And I've had my identity try to be snatched, and I've had those moments where you know I don't think I ever second question God, but you have those moments like, okay, am I doing what I'm really supposed to be doing? So I've had those moments, but for the most part, I pretty much go head on for whatever's in my path for me to overcome and conquer.
It's exciting. You're such an inspiration.
I appreciate
Well,
it.
we'll definitely open up to the audience. So if you're watching and if you have any questions, feel free to type in the comments. And then while they're doing that, how can people get a hold of you? How can people find out about you and what you're up to?
Okay, so I'm Lady C Prince pretty much everywhere. I am the founder and the owner of C Prince Media and Productions Inc. And I'm the brand producer for 20 TV Live. So, you can find me on all the social media networks. My favorite that I really love and I hang out on a lot, and I like, putting up content and showing what's going on is Instagram, of course. Yeah, so you can find me at Lady C Prince on Instagram.
Excellent.
Fantastic. The conversation has been very rich and so full of gems and wisdom that we can carry. When you talk about your grandbabies and things like that, that gives you a totally different level of purpose. And so that's legacy planning that you're talking about. Yes, they get to enjoy the fruits of that right now, but what's planning for their legacy, you are setting them up for uh, generational wealth, things that they'll know things that, like they say, most kids shouldn't. But that's so exciting to be
Yes.
able to impart that knowledge
Yes,
to
I'm still in shock. I, I'm gonna be 47 this year, and I didn't think that I would be a grandma before 50. I didn't even think that I was gonna be a grandma before 50, but I am, adjusting, and I am basically learning the ropes. So now my grandkids, they would get a little spanking if they call me grandma, because they gotta call me grandma around here.
listen. Let me tell you,
Yes.
I can so relate. Mine better never call me the G word. Okay. I'm gonna need me, honey. All right.
Yes, ma'am. I do understand. Yes, you black don't crack. You look great. Okay.
Hey, unless you mix this with crack, okay?
Uh,
I never heard that. That's funny.
that's true. Yeah, let's keep it out of there. Yeah, we want you looking
Thank
just
you
the
so
way you
much.
are.
Thank you. So, Donald, she's got some amazing things going on, amazing things that she's got her hands in, and all of that kind of thing. So, what we want our audience to know is that if you have a thought, if anything that we've said here that will inspire you to think that, oh my God, I could do this. I would like to do this. I mean, tap into the inspiration of others. So if there's, because doing some of these things, sometimes people think it's so far out of their reach.
That's
But
true.
we got our pulse on the people with the know-how. So they better just, get in where you fit in. Look
Right.
for her, see what she's doing, and maybe you can be inspired to do some things that you never thought that were possible.
Absolutely.
For sure.
So, well, we do appreciate your time and thank you for sharing
Thank
your
you.
nuggets of wisdom. And hopefully, Cal, you'll be back on the show in the future.
Okay, for sure. Thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate it, and I have a wonderful time today.
So is
Yes.
there anything that you would like to share with our audience before you left?
Be you trust your inner self. Trust your inner voice. Trust God. Like, for real. If you really want to know what God is made of and he give you something to do, he's gonna always back it up. It's like, okay, the source is gonna always give you the provision for whatever it is that you're called to do. I think that when your vision is bigger than you, it really is for you to do, because you're going to grow and see what you're made of. So I would say, not just go after your dreams, but put feet to your dreams and live and walk them out.
Yes. All
Absolutely.
right. That's powerful. Thank you so much for
You're
that, Lady
welcome.
Steve.
Okay. Bye,
Well,
y'all.
have a good one. That was so fun. Oh my gosh, she's
Yes,
so wise beyond her years.
absolutely. I
So,
mean, mm-mm-mm.
yeah.
And it's it hit different if you're a girl. I know you appreciate.
Yeah, how so?
I know you can appreciate all of her wisdom and everything and all the things that she said, but as a woman and women that are looking on, it's so inspiring, right? And then to um, put that big old number out there. I mean, working for 20 years. It's
That's
unbelievable,
so
but it's
rare nowadays.
inspiring, for women. I mean, like I said, I mean, I advocate for women because I am a woman, but I just want women to just walk away knowing that it is not out of reach for you. It
Absolutely.
is beyond, your comprehension sometimes, but that's how God operates. The
Absolutely.
things that you did not think were possible, those are the things that He will do in your life. So, I mean, get yourself some, women. Get yourself some. It is for you to have, and I'm just so grateful that we had her on today.
And it's incredible because our school system grooms us to be employees.
Yes.
And literally, it was created during the Industrial Revolution time to go into factories, and it hasn't changed since. And that was the early 1900s.
Well,
And so things have definitely changed, and it's
definitely
time to be
evolved.
entrepreneurs. I always say either you're getting rich or you're making somebody else rich.
Hmm.
And so if
Yeah.
you're working for somebody else, guess what? You're making them rich.
Well,
But to create true generational wealth and true increase, you have to step out in faith
you
and trust God.
and people like us, and we're not the only ones, we're so busy trying to feed this to our community. I mean, you guys, we're like that mama bird. We're trying to just stuff it in there. We're trying to get it in there because it was not designed for, the minority to have this type of insight. I mean, Rockefeller said he was not looking for thinkers. He was looking for laborers. Honey, we were supposed to be working, all right?
Mm.
But you have to understand that all of the wisdom and the knowledge and the gifts that have been given to you, that meant that I want you to thrive in this world. God is expecting for us to put him out there. And what does that mean? Well, I'm glad you asked. You see, he needs vessels and vehicles to
Absolutely.
make certain that people know just how fantastic he is, right? We
Absolutely.
are the boasters and the braggers of God. So whenever you have those gifts and talents and you sit on them, you're denying him of being on Front Street, right?
Mm.
Get busy and do your thing, all right?
I love it. I love it. Well, you can find Dr. Michelle DeSell on Instagram.
I am Michelle DeSelda, Wealth Tattletale.
And you can find me at Darnold Jr. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. Stay tuned next week. We have another inspirational speaker. Oh my gosh, you guys are going to definitely want to tune in for next week. And so, with that, I appreciate you guys for being lit, getting lit. Big difference. And so, if you got any value out of today, go ahead and smash that like button. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to our show. And we appreciate you guys for getting lit.